video in 5-6 months. The hiatus has been real, if you will, and I know the anticipation has been building up like crazy for us to come back. But no, we are back, and we're going to start doing shows weekly. And you notice a new face in App State quarterback Brady McBride. And so we're going to start this weekly segment where we just come on and we just talk all things and everything's quarterback. So just let us give you like a real quick kind of rundown of what we have planned for y'all these upcoming months and years, and our future of breaking down quarterbacks. But basically, we just want to make this a big QB hub, right, Brady? Like we want to make this anything and all things quarterbacks. Something that inspired both of us was the Room by Jordan Palmer and Kyle Allen. They do a hell of a job, and so they're the big leaguers, and we're like the rookie ball single.
We're in the farm system, huh?
But I know it's been a while for those that have watched this channel in the past. It's been a lot of quarterback breakdowns, film breakdowns, and we're still going to do those breakdowns. But we want to bring on current quarterbacks, quarterback coaches, offensive coordinators, college coaches that we know, and just create a hub of all things quarterbacks, from what playing looks like, and then just kind of like shooting the breeze, if you will. That's kind of the comeback, if you will, of QB Spotlight. And so we'll still have the breakdowns. We'll still have kind of fun stuff, but we're going to do these weekly segments. And so y'all let us know what y'all want. Brady, what did I miss? What else do you need to add here, dude?
I think you hit it all. Just coming off my end, I feel like I had a unique perspective and just kind of a niche that I feel like not many people can get. And I feel like it's important to voice your opinion and just kind of let your voice be heard in the world. And I feel like this is a unique opportunity for that to happen. So I'm excited. It's a little uncomfortable, learning and trying to grow with this thing. But a dream of mine has always been just talking about football. Like that's always been one of my dreams. And so hopefully this is a little step towards it.
Yeah, and you're right. You are in a unique position, still playing at a high Division I level and starting already several years at a Division I level. So I guess let's give our background real quick. Like most people watching will probably know you being a current quarterback. I am, believe it or not, to those a very old and failed quarterback. A few years in college. Brady knows this stat. My only touchdown was to the other team, and I quickly got moved to safety. But now I have the privilege of working with a lot of high-level athletes, a lot of baseball guys, but a lot of quarterbacks too, in the strength and conditioning, the weight room kind of field. That's kind of how me and Brady actually met. Last offseason, I guess you just entered the transfer portal, which we're going to get into here in a little bit, and I was one of our NFL guys was training with us in Austin. We need someone to throw. He reached out to you. Patrick Taylor, teammates at Memphis. And then from there we started training, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to you, right? Like the best 2 months of your life, right?
No, it was good. Besides all the gas prices going from San Marcos to Lake Travis, about an hour and some change, but especially with that traffic in the morning. But that's true. I started out coming out of high school. I went to University of Memphis, where I was privileged to meet a lot of that team had incredible running backs. 5 to name off is Kenny Gainwell, Tony Pollard, Patrick Taylor, Antonio Gibson, and Darrell Henderson. Like that's just 5. And I'm coming in, I'm like, wow, like college is really different, but I didn't know how fortunate I was to be around 5 NFL running backs. But so Patrick was a real leader. He kind of helped me out, just being a freshman and stuff, being away from home, being from Texas, things like that. So we kind of kept in touch, and one thing led to another, and I ended up throwing with him. And he was like, "Dude, you're driving an hour and a half. Like, you might as well come get a workout in." So that's when I met Steven. He went from I remember him filming us throwing, and I was like, "What's he doing?" he was back there filming my throws, and I was like, all right. And so I got to learn about all he did for me and work out this shoulder rotator, this cuff, get a little looser. So shout out to you for that.
Yeah, you learned a lot, and you around a lot of like high throwing baseball players too. Even though the pro guys are gone, but we still had a lot of elite level college and high school guys throwing like 98, 99, just incredible.
Some big timers.
Yeah. And then there's me just kind of running around probably like 5, looking like I'm 5'2", even though I'm 5'10", guys. But we got a lot of good workout and throwing stories that we'll get into. But today, Brady, I figured the best, like we talked before, the hottest topic in college football besides NIL is the transfer portal. Maybe even hotter than NIL. So, as someone who has experienced it himself, how about you just give us a rundown of kind of what the transfer portal entails, what guys that are currently in the transfer portal are thinking about, how their recruiting goes, just kind of like the details of that, everything that you can share. And then I think it'll be fun to kind of dive into some of these guys that have transferred already and kind of where they've ended up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty experienced in the transfer portal. I've transferred twice, went to Memphis, went back home to Texas State, and then finishing out here at App State in Boone, North Carolina. So, I mean, I was at different stages in my career in each transfer. So, like my first transfer out of Memphis, I was young. I felt like I had done a good job trying to build a reputation at Memphis. And so I was going out trying to find somewhere to play. And, I mean, I didn't have any experience. Like, it was like the transfer portal boom. So, like, I had to sit out a year once I got to the school. So, once I heard something from Texas, a school in Texas, I was homesick. I had never left Texas, and I had Texas State reach out, and I was like, "Yep, I'm going." Like, don't even gotta tell me nothing more. So, yeah, that all happened real quick. I mean, right. So you go to your compliance, right? Or you go to your coach first. You know, hey, you have that conversation, tough conversation, and then after that, everything happens real fast. So you go to your compliance, you gotta fill out some sheet or something, and then I enter your name in the transfer portal, and then like that usually takes like maybe 24 hours, and boom, like when you hit it, because then you'll get like schools of all ranges. I mean, they'll just hit you up, and you're like, wow, it's like a very expedited high school recruiting process that everyone's trying to see where you're at, what you're looking for, what you're wanting to do. And yeah, that's basically it. So my first time I was looking to go, I had 4 years which became 5 years left because of COVID, and I went back to Texas State. I had a great 3 years there, man. I love that school. And I I think it was last year when we met, I went in the transfer portal again, and I mean, I was in a completely different spot. Like, I had some experience. I've started a couple games. I only had a couple years left, and I have used the full amount of my eligibility. So this is my 6th year playing right now, and so yeah, it's just different stages. So my last year, or my last transfer portal experience was just, hey, like, I need to find a great fit. Like, there's no do-overs. Like, this is your last chance. Like, and I got really blessed for App State to come and find me, and it worked out in so many different ways I couldn't even imagine. And I'm just grateful to be here now.
Is it whenever you enter the portal, do you have to actively recruit yourself too? A little bit of both? Like, some schools reaching out, you're reaching out to some schools, or how kind of,
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got like a different status, right? So, I mean, I'm not some crazy big time. Like, I was at a G5, and I was just looking to play somewhere, still in the Division I level, but everyone's got their own different status, different levels, and different playing experience that, I mean, allows them to go to different kinds of schools. And so I kind of knew where I was at, and App State has won a lot of games, and so for them to come and get me, I was just like, yeah. I remember I got a DM. It was like from one of my coaches, Stone, and he was like, "Hey, man, any interest in App State?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of how mine went.
That's a great program, and they've had so many good quarterbacks. Like, obviously Chase Bryce the past few years put big numbers. Yeah. Taylor Lamb, I remember. Mm-hmm. There's another really good quarterback I'm missing.
Zach Thomas.
Was in between Lamb and Zach Thomas. That's right. Yeah. So some good quarter, just like hard nosed, like tough ass quarterbacks are really fun to watch and just get the job done. Great system there. So. Yeah, that's enticing. So guys, last transfer portal question before we kind of dive into guys that were in the transfer portal that have committed, kind of go through the details. I remember you at Texas State, like just because you committed to App State, you still had to finish your semester, you still had to pass your classes. So like just kind of go over like that detail. Like you got to like just because you commit doesn't mean you're in the school, right? You got
Yeah,
to like
for
make sure.
sure. So yeah, when I left Texas State, I was in my last semester to graduate, and I think on your second time you transfer, like you have to graduate. I believe that's a rule, maybe, like in order to play right away. And so it was a big deal for me to finish out my degree and pass all my classes in order to be eligible to play. So yeah, I mean, like I said, everyone's at a different stage in their career. Like if you got your first year, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you're not far into a major. You don't have to graduate from somewhere. Like you can start fresh completely. And I mean, yeah, you got basically 4 or 5, 3 years, depending on who you are, and it all really just depends on where you're at in your career. So that's a big thing people don't really think about. Is just, I mean, if it's your second time transferring, I mean, I'm pretty sure you have to graduate, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you have to be a graduate transfer to transfer, not sit out the second time.
Yeah,
I believe. I actually transferred as well about 13 years ago. But when you transfer from a Division III school to an FCS school, no one really cares. So we got that in common too, Brady. And I was like begging coaches, let me play. No one was reaching out to me. But anyways, no one wants to get bored with that. So let's dive into the guys who are actually in the transfer portal this year and the guys that have committed, whether I don't know if they're on camp. I'm sure a lot are on campus now, actually. Yeah. And then some, have to wait. But so when we made this list, I want to go through a good amount of people here. And you want to actually kind of describe the kind of like the format. List that you made. Yeah. The format of it. So people understand.
Yeah. It was basically just kind of broke it up into 3 separate groups. It was basically the title of it is Transfer Portal Home Runs. And you got your P5 guys, you got your G5 guys, and then at the very bottom there's sleepers, which, I mean, that could be sleepers just because I don't know enough about them, don't know enough about their situation, or there's just sleepers is just like they could blow up.
Yep.
Is what I'm basically
100%,
saying.
100%. So let's dive into it. So with this, let's dive into the home run guys and let's give a little information on why and how they fit in with that scheme, if we know what the scheme is, and then we'll go with the G5 guys, and then we'll hit on these sleepers, and then just list a couple other like bigger name guys who people probably know where they are, but then they may have. There's so many guys in the transfer portal that even me, when I was looking at this list, I was like, oh, I didn't know this guy ended up there. So just to kind of refresh and recap everyone. So you go ahead and hit it off, hit this home run pitch off, dude. It's 3-2. I'm throwing 80 miles per hour at you, and you're trying to hit it out.
All right. So first up, we got Tanner Mordecai, SMU. He started off at Oklahoma, transferred to SMU, had a great career at SMU, threw for buku yards. I think he's an elite passer of the ball. He's got excellent touch. I mean, I watched that Houston game, and he had like 10 touchdowns. And he's got elite touch, accuracy, and he's got all the experience you need. So I also have a funny story about personal experience with him. Yeah. So we're like, he's from Waco. I'm from Dallas. So we're going into these Elite 11 like regionals. And, like the camps, I was just like, just seeing who I fit in with, kind of seeing who would be cool. And so me and him get to talk, and we hit it off pretty well. And I remember he had all these big offers, like Georgia, like he had everyone you could want, and they were looking to put him in the finals. And I remember we were throwing these seam routes, and I think he like dirted a ball or something, and we had been talking, kind of chopping it up. And I remember that guy going up to him, one of the workers there. He's like, "Hey, are you here to make friends, or are you here to make the Elite 11?" And I was like, I just looked over. I was like, what in the world? And I thought that was one of the funnier things that happened. So I just figured I'd had my experience with him on that.
Yeah. I'm sure you got a bunch of stories with these guys, but no, you're right. He's got he blew it up at SMU. I think like both years he had over 30 touchdowns. Like Wisconsin's doing a good they know what they need to improve on, and they brought in
Mm-hmm.
him to be their quarterback with Luke Fickell. So I think that's a great fit.
They brought in 3 dudes. I'm pretty sure they brought in Nico Evers from Flower Mound and one other guy, I believe, Mississippi State.
Okay.
And also bringing in Phil Longo. I studied his offense a bit just in off seasons and stuff. And he does a ton of RPO stuff. He's really good at just like isolating that single receiver in an RPO game. So I think that'll be good for him.
That'll be a fun offense. I'm sure it'll be fun for Wisconsin fans too to see a different approach for Wisconsin football. You know what I mean? No more like three yards and cloud of dust type deal. All right, so the next guy on your list, Spencer Sanders from Ole Miss. I know you like his game a lot, and I want to get into it, but it's just with what we have coming up at the end. How about we just go ahead and skip him, and then we'll talk about him.
Just know he's in the home run list, but
okay, he's on
his abilities and strengths.
This is all Brady's list, by the way. So if you like it, great. If you don't like it, then don't get mad at me. I'm just kidding. This is us. Okay, so next is the guy that is a freaking stud, Hudson Card at Purdue. Go ahead and just give us a few details on him, but he's a stud.
I mean, I'm a big fan of him. I mean, Texas is a hard place to go play quarterback at, and just going through all the stuff that he went through with Quinn Ewers and just being the guy bench, like he went through all that roller coaster of quarterback, and he came out on top. I feel like, I mean, he handled himself well. He performed well when he had to perform well. And I just believe he's going to be a great player just based on all that controversy. It builds character, and I feel like he's due for some success here at Purdue.
Yeah, and he's a hell of an athlete too, and he played well at Texas. I mean, he almost beat Alabama on a bum ankle this past year. You know what I mean? You were probably playing a game, but
don't get to watch much ball when you're playing.
But yeah, dude, and he's just a freaking fighter. And plus, we're always going to be Texas fans as far as quarterbacks from Texas. To say, so we're going to pull for those guys. But yeah, he's a stud. He spins it. And then the next one on your list is someone who, if you ask anyone, they're probably going to say he's the biggest transfer get out of any position right now, right? Yeah. With Sam Hartman at Notre Dame. I actually like Tyler Buckner a lot too, the quarterback who started the bowl game. I just think he's tough as nails, but I do think Hartman is definitely a big home run get. Yeah,
I like Hartman. Like anytime someone goes through a lot of adversity, I feel like, and comes out on top, they're due for success, whether it's right now or eventually. But I mean, he's performed at a high level for many years at Wake Forest, and I remember maybe my freshman year. I don't know if he was playing, but we played Wake Forest in a bowl game. But besides the point, he has performed at a high level for many years, and I don't think that's going to stop at his time at Notre Dame.
I agree. I think if he goes and kills it, then he's a potential top, first rounders pick. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea how the NFL people judge all that stuff. But
yeah, it seems like age is an issue, and it isn't an issue because I mean, you got Joe Burrow, and then you got.
Yep, Kenny Pickett was a first round pick.
Seems like they pick and choose who they want to use the age card on.
I think that's wise. Yeah, and plus me and you being just quarterback junkies, and you still being a quarterback, we're gonna pull for any quarterback out there.
And I'm about 24 too, so don't hate on the old guys.
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot older than that. But the last quarterback we have for like home run pick is Kentucky quarterback Devin Leary, transfer from NC State, who put up just huge numbers in 2021. Was injured this past year in 2022, torn pec, which is a not fun injury to have, especially as a quarterback. I'm not sure if it was his left or right one, to be honest. But the 2021 numbers he put up at like 35 touchdowns, 5 picks, over 8 yards per attempt or right around that range. Super strong arm. He was getting like first round buzz coming into the season. And so now I think going to Kentucky, I'm pretty sure Kentucky got their old OC back, Liam Cohen, who was Levis's OC his first year at Kentucky. Okay. And, people were really high on him, but he's got a really good offense. So I'm excited for Devin Leary. And, I mean, he's just a tough guy, takes hits, slings the rock, and anyone just freaking slings it.
He slings it. I got to respect any quarterback that just goes out there and slings it. All that stuff going through your mind, and you still just always going to be a fan of the guys that just go out and sling it.
The toughest position by far, which we'll get into at some point, but Yeah, we're probably biased. I do. So let's dive into the G5 transfers and have you kind of just take the lead here.
Yeah. So we got JT Daniels going to Bryce. Another guy that's been through hell and back, I feel like, and he's had so much adversity. And people forget, like, this guy, he skipped his whole senior year, was Gatorade Player of the Year, skipped his whole senior year, and started at USC, one of the most prominent programs and organizations in all college football. And he performed at a high level. And whatever happened there, yeah, but I believe he's going to get his mojo back, and once he gets that back, he's going to perform very, very well at a high level and keep Rice elevating because they had a great year last year.
Yeah, made a bowl. I think they were 5-7, but that's a good improvement for him. And,
yeah.
Now you'll take that right off the bat. Mm-hmm. All right, so next G5 quarterback I want to get into, and this is a guy I freaking love. But I'll let you take the lead first, and then I kind of want to jump on top after that.
Yeah, we got Malik Hornsby at Texas State. I mean, that dude, I watched the spring game, and I remember they were working him out a receiver too, but just his speed just jumps off the film. And I mean, a guy like him working with Coach Kenny, you saw what he did with Lindsey Scott Jr. in 1 year, 70 touchdown passes, and he's just going to be dangerous, and I feel like he'll have them going in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, so Hornsby, he went to Marshall High School out of the Houston area in Fort Bend, and so that was like the district I played in, decades ago. But so I was always a fan of him when he went to Arkansas. And, for every reason, just didn't work out at quarterback for him there. They have a good quarterback in KJ Jefferson, just hard to get the field. But as far as like athletically goes, he's going to be one of the top athletes in general in the Sun Belt Conference, just from like an athletic standpoint. And like you mentioned, with their coach coming from Incarnate Word and what he did with the quarterback last year at Incarnate Word, that has to be just like super enticing and encouraging for Malik Hornsby to come and continue to develop. So super excited for Malik Hornsby. I know people watching probably aren't super big Texas State fans or G5 fans, but like we give love to every quarterback. That's what we do. We love the G5 level, and so we want to make sure that they all, we give them their flowers as well. So a few more G5 guys, and this guy I don't know too much about, so I'm gonna let you take the lead on him. I have watched him a little bit, but Fresno State transfer Mikey Keene.
No, he's going to Fresno State, but Mikey Keene, he has spent the last couple of years at UCF. I mean, he's got great touch on the ball. He delivers the ball well. I feel like he's going to succeed and just elevate and keep Fresno State at a high level because they've been hot as of recent, and I think he's going to keep them right there. So.
And I love Jake Haener, their past quarterback. So if you're Mikey Keene and you see the success Haener had, that has to be a potential reason why. Okay, so let's go with a few more guys in the G5 level. I want to talk about La Tech transfer Hank Bachmeier, right, from Boise State, and big freshman year, right, true freshman year. I always remember that game against Florida State. Again, you were probably playing, but he was just getting like hit left and right, and just kept delivering the ball. They ended up beating Florida State, and then didn't have the years he probably wanted to the next few years for whatever reason why. But I think La Tech's a great fit with Sonny Cumbie calling the plays and putting him in a good position.
Yeah, I agree.
I got three more G5 guys. You want me to just kind of roll through it?
Yeah, these are Stevens guys right here, but
hey, they're all my guys. We all root for all of them.
Yeah.
But someone that I like, I've been following him since high school, with Chandler Rogers, who started at Southern Miss, went to ULM, had I think 2 years as their starter, a year and a half, but had a really good year last year, and then is transferring to UNT. I think he fits that offense well, even though they're getting a new staff in place. But I think he's a good dual threat guy. The next guy I want to hit on, and I'll let you kind of jump back on these if you want.
Yeah.
Davis Brin from Tulsa going to Georgia Southern, had some bright spots for a little bit at Tulsa. And what I'm excited about him is Kyle Van Treese, the quarterback at Georgia Southern last year, was a transfer from Buffalo, came to Georgia Southern. I think you may know, maybe was second in the Sun Belt in passing yards, or maybe even first.
He had a great year.
And did y'all play?
Yeah, we did. The last game of the season. He was a good quarterback. Yeah. And also a Davis friend. He was another guy I met at camp that we kind of just clicked instantly. It's funny you meet these guys at camp when you're like 16, 17, and just to see where all these different routes and everyone goes.
Yeah.
It's just cool to watch, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's neat, man. You know all these guys. I think he could have some success at Georgia Southern. And, he saw what happened to Van Trees. And I think they bring another transfer quarterback or two. But I always like Bryn at Tulsa.
Yeah.
So, all right, dude, let's get into your sleepers. We got 4 sleepers. And again, these are guys who any QB in the transfer portal could be considered a sleeper for the most part. But these are guys who have had some success at a different school, or guys who haven't got their shot yet, that we kind of want to jump into.
Yeah. So first off, I got Drew Pine going from Notre Dame to Arizona State. And I'm not really sure exactly what happened at Notre Dame. Like, it's a lot of stuff at quarterback, so I don't necessarily know like the details of what will happen. But all it takes sometimes is a fresh start, and I know he's going to a great place. One of my former coaches, Coach Gillingham, shout out to him. And I know the offense he runs, and any quarterback is bound to have a great year running that system. So,
where was he? Where did he coach you at?
He recruited me at a high school.
Oh, okay.
And he was my OC at Memphis, and then during our bowl week or our bowl practices at Memphis, he took the OC job at Auburn, and then from Auburn he went to Florida State, I believe. He was there for a year maybe, and then he went to Oregon as the OC, and I think that was his first year calling plays, and then boom, he rose up so fast, and now he's head coach at Arizona State, where he's from. So I know that means a lot to him, and I hope to watch him succeed.
Arizona State, that's a fun place to go to. All right, let's get into.
How do you know that?
Well, I go out to spring training every year for Carolina baseball guys. So
yeah, I hear the stereotypical Arizona talk. Phoenix, Scottsdale.
Yeah,
never been out there though.
Really? Well, yeah. When you're a 30-year-old dad and you got a family, any place you go to is kind of the same. You don't go out, but from what I hear, it's a fun little place. So
if only you golfed. I hear they got great golf up there. They got resorts and all that.
They do have good golfing. I'm just a terrible golfer.
You try to get me to stop playing golf.
Yeah, we'll have that convo off the show because it might be beneficial for a little back. But anyways, let's dive into your next guy that you have in this list, sleeper quarterback.
So we got. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I agree with you about this guy. I'm excited for him.
This dude, I think he has a bright future. His name is Luke Altmaier, coming from Ole Miss. I think he's from Starkville, if I'm right. I mean, he came in. He played at Ole Miss. He went in when Matt Corral went down in the Sugar Bowl. I thought he performed well. I think he just got caught in the bad luck of the transfer portal, and I think he's due for some success over there at Illinois. So I'm excited to watch him.
Yeah, I like him too. Illinois is kind of on the rise too. Went bowling, had a good season.
Is that where Belima?
Brett Belima? Yep.
Belima.
Yeah. Yep. I kind of like him. And then, UCLA transfer from Kent State to UCLA College.
Oh,
yeah, go over him some.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw this guy. I think I was having dinner with I think Chase Price, and we were just watching him on TV, and he's a specimen. He's got some great calves. He's got some great calves. Dude's a beast, and he absolutely chunks the ball. And like I said, it's hard not to root for a guy that just lets it fly. So he had a big upgrade. His OC went to Colorado, or no, his head coach went to Colorado, and I think he got an upgrade as well. And he's going to UCLA. So
yeah, that should be an awesome offense for him to be in with Chip Kelly, and then having like more playmakers around him than maybe he did at Kent State. Yeah, that's a good one. You're right though. He slings it. Okay. Last guy I got for sleeper. Maybe he's not a sleeper. I don't know, but I kind of feel like he is for the simple fact he got, I guess technically got beat out this year. I know he was dealing with injuries, but former Michigan quarterback Cade McNamara transferring to Iowa. I think he's big time underrated. Like, I think he's a stud. I think he's going to elevate that Iowa offense tremendously. And like, I'm not smart enough to break down Michigan's offense, but it's not like a quarterback's like light it up. Even though McCarthy did some good things this year, of course. Yeah. But it's not like, the Ohio State quarterback's like lighting it up. You know what I mean? So obviously Iowa's offense struggled, right, this past season. But I think he could be huge in that turnaround. And like a lot of these guys we talked about, he's just a fighter. And I'm just a fan of just like fighters and guys that just keep, getting standing in the pocket, taking a hit, getting up, saying screw you to the defense, and just keep slinging it. I'm excited for him to be at Iowa.
Yep, I agree with you. It's hard not to root for those kind of guys.
100%, dude. So these other names we're going to go on. We're just going to briefly touch on it, and I'm just going to mention their names, mention where they're going. If you have one word you want to say, or if you have anything you want to kind of touch on, go ahead. If not, just say, just give me a smile or something, right? You need to smile a little bit more. Yeah. You got a good smile. Show those teeth. Your girlfriend want to see that. And then, so I'm just going to kind of go through it, give you a second to say anything, and then just kind of just roll down this list. But these are guys who, any of these guys could blow up and have a good season. Some of these guys have been starters. Some of these guys have struggled and been starters. Some are coming up from a different level. And then some haven't played much, but are bigger names. So these are names worth knowing that we wanted to make sure we touched on as well. Okay. DJU from Clemson to Oregon State.
I actually do. I got a word for him, and I think that's 2 words: revenge and redemption.
Hell yeah. I love that, dude. God, those are good words. Man, so much cooler than what I would have said. Okay. Deion's son.
Shedeur.
Okay, I don't want to mess it up. Jeez,
Shedeur Sanders.
Sanders.
I mean, I haven't watched Jackson State that much, but I mean, from everything I hear, he seems like the real deal. The last time I saw him play, I think we were about 6 or 7. I played on Deion's team, The Truth, and I think he was playing quarterback then, but Shiloh was the quarterback. They put me at running back. So
yeah, let's go. Look at you, a prime U alum.
Yeah.
Brennan Armstrong transfer from UVA to NC State.
Yeah, I think he slings it. I believe. I mean, I loved watching this film at Virginia. He's got touch. He throws a great deep ball, and I think he's primed for a good season.
Yep, I think bounce back.
That's a good word.
Thank you. Yeah, 1-to-1 with good words. Jeff Sims, Georgia Tech to Nebraska.
Athlete. That's my word. Athlete.
Yeah. He's a stud. Keaton Slovis, USC, Pitt, and now BYU.
I don't know. This might be a phrase, but like back to the basics.
Yep.
I think he is a great quarterback, and he's shown it at times. And I didn't get the chance to watch him much at Pitt, but obviously things didn't work out. And BYU has had a great run of quarterbacks here lately, so I'm hoping he fits right in.
Good fit. Yep. I always keep forgetting, like, whenever you either watch these guys in highlights, you got to go back and like watch them on your own because you're always like playing.
Well, it's either watching on film, watching just like similar offenses and like game preps for like the next week. So I've watched a lot of Brendan Armstrong this past year. Okay. Not too much Caden Slovis, but I like to watch USC when he was there with Graham Harrell. Yep. That's a fun offense.
All right, Phil Jakovic, Boston College to Pitt.
Yeah, I watched him play in person when we played. Texas State played Boston College.
Right. You almost beat them that year.
Yeah, we did.
That was COVID,
I think they won
right?
by like 3. Yeah. That was a weird deal. I've always had this like idea of loving Boston in my head, and so that was my first time I got to go. But there was nobody in the stands, and it was just like freshman year scrimmage or something. It felt
Was it cold? Was it cold?
No, it was great. No? It's just one of those things. I remember going out in pregame, and it was just like good vibes. Like you felt good, and like just knew it was going to be a good day, and it was a fun game.
I remember watching that game. There's a former MLB guy trained who went to Texas State and watched every Texas State game. So I remember texting back and forth with him, and I know it didn't end the way you wanted to. But anyways, Phil Jakovic, BC to Pitt.
Yeah, I didn't even get into what I was going to say. But, every time I watched him in that game, he was just a great decision maker. He was athletic, more athletic than you would think. He's big, man. He's a big guy. Yeah. And he just took the check down, smart decisions. He's just like maybe a boring quarterback, but, I mean, he gets the job done, and he succeeds in what he does. So
sometimes like the boring quarterbacks are the better quarterbacks anyway. So
yeah, I need to get more boring.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I obviously was not boring. Not very good either. But Graham Mertz from Wisconsin to the University of Florida.
I haven't watched him really at all. So this one's you. What do you say?
Exposure to a new offense. now he's getting with. I like Billy Napier. I love what he does pre-snap, and
Mm-hmm.
he puts quarterbacks or attempts to put quarterbacks in position to succeed. And so Mertz was a high recruit,
Mm-hmm.
had a good first few games, and was just kind of up and down. And so, but I think there's something there. So Graham
Sweet.
Mertz to Florida. Yep. Okay, Haynes King, Texas A&M to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of those A&M guys transfer over to Georgia Tech. Huh? I think there was like 3 or 4 of them. A lot of those guys. I don't know. I guess that's a new pipeline, huh?
Maybe so. I mean, they got a new coach, so
yeah. But I'm always rooting for him.
Yeah. Texas kid from Longview.
Texas kid, tough kid, quiet, humble.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to root for those guys too.
Love that. We love Texas quarterbacks. All right, Emory Jones, start at Florida, Arizona State this year, now going to Cincy.
Mm-hmm. This one's you. I haven't watched him much.
I didn't watch him much this year, but I liked him at Florida, so
Yeah.
I'll be pulling.
Obviously, a big name. Obviously, a big name. I feel like
big name.
I mean, it's about. I feel like he could live up to the success that they're expecting. So,
veteran. That's a good word. Veteran. Veteran's a good word. Yeah, it's good to be a vet, but he's got some tools too. So, okay. Was a big recruit, Jake Garcia from Miami to Mizzou. I think it's official he committed, but
yeah,
as far as I know,
What do you think about him?
Big recruit, and played some last year in Miami. Was just kind of probably a rough position for him to get in. I think the starter had some injuries, but Mizzou could be good, right? So
yeah, Mizzou.
And then last guy, Donovan Smith from from Texas Tech going to U of H.
Yeah, I know he started a couple games for Tech, won a couple games. I mean, anytime you got a guy with experience and that has proven that he can win, I feel like it's a good situation, good fit. So
I think he was. I'm happy. I think he was actually the quarterback when they beat Texas this year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And was it double overtime?
Yeah, that game was. Yeah. If you're a Texas fan, it's heartbreaker. If you're a Tech fan, you freaking love it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Trent, we could talk like hours and hours on the transfer portal. Hopefully, we covered a decent amount of guys, at least gave people an idea of what each guy brings to the table. And then we can always go back and do deeper dives on guys if people want that. But I say we talk about one more kind of transfer portal ish topic, and that is the Ole Miss quarterback room, right? So. Returning starting quarterback Jackson Dart, like you mentioned, Luke Altmaier, the backup last year, is transferring to Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jackson Dart, if you just looked at these stats, you would say, and this is his first year starting in this offense, you would probably say not bad at all, something to build off, right? So let me read his stats real quick to you. He started in 13 games, or he's played in 13 games. He completed 62.4% of his passes. He threw for 2,900 yards and some change. Yards per attempt were 8.2, 20 touchdowns in the air, and 11 interceptions. So most quarterbacks in the first year starting would probably take that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But and so he had a pretty good year. So I think the fact they brought in 2 of the quarterbacks, which we'll get to, isn't necessarily a slight at him. It's maybe just like Lane Kiffin wanting more competition, just like expecting like excellence. And in this day and age, like if you can go make more competition, you are going to do that. So real quick, talk about Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State, and then Walker Howard. Walker Howard from LSU, who committed like a day or two before Spencer Sanders did. And we like all these quarterbacks. But real quick, talk about Spencer Sanders coming in, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Jackson Dart. And then actually, you know what? Talk Jackson Dart first for me.
I'm going to flip it. I'm going to talk Walker Howard, then Jackson Dart, and then go Spencer Sanders.
Yeah.
So to start off, To start off, I watched Walker Howard, and obviously he has not much. He played a little bit in that Purdue game, but not much college film. So obviously take that film with a grain of salt. So what I saw jumps out, throws the ball well. He's got a great arm. He throws an incredible back shoulder ball. He's got that repetitive in his highlight video. And there's different types. He's got the air where the receiver can adjust to the back shoulder ball, far field, far hash back shoulder ball, and then putting it on a line and just on the DB's head where that receiver can just snag it. So I think he's got great arm strength and touch. And He obviously uses his feet in high school, and like as a guy who used his feet a lot in high school, I don't know how well that translates to a college game. Just bigger dudes, faster dudes, just different breeds. So hopefully that works out for him, but I don't know how well that translate. But my thoughts are they recruited him to be the quarterback of the future. They might throw him in the battle to make him happy, but I don't think we'll be seeing Walker Howard as a starter this year. So,
yeah, I think that's fair, and I'll just give my quick 2 cents on it because I think Howard's a stud, and I
yeah,
think he fits Kiffin's offense to a T. If you go off his high school film, like you said, right, it's hard to judge if the running ability is going to transfer. But for Matt Corral, they ran him a lot. He was a
yeah,
dog. He was tough as nails, right? And so, I think he's similar to Matt Corral, but I think you're probably right. He's probably the odd man out as of right now, but at the end of the day, he could be the week one starter too. So,
yep, yep. Never know. So then we transition on to Jackson Dart, and you just read off his stats. I mean, he had a great year. Obviously, he is very capable of being an SEC or being a quarterback and being a good quarterback, as any SEC quarterback is. He's got a great ability to use his legs. He's a patient runner. He's not rushing anything. He likes to get his blocks set up. So that's something you don't really see in quarterbacks much, but I feel like he does a great job at that. And I believe he can be elite if he starts to get comfortable. Sorry.
you're good.
Gotten choked up. If he starts to get comfortable, and I mean, it's a second year in the system, and anytime you get that second year, most quarterbacks make that jump. And I don't necessarily think it's fair that he brings in a Spencer Sanders or a guy like that. But I mean, that's just the nature of college football right now, and you got to be ready for anything. Stay on your P's and Q's and just get better. That's all you can really do. So,
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think with Dart, yeah, give a quarterback time to develop and improve and build on, but at the same time, if you can find someone that's going to be better as a coach, it's kind of what you do, I guess. But
yep,
okay, talk about Spencer Sanders some, because I know you like Sanders,
yeah,
you like his game.
yeah, I do. I watched his game versus Notre Dame last year. I think it was Fiesta Bowl, and I was impressed. I mean, gets down 28-7. Doesn't panic, just keeps his game going, and he eventually gets hot. And I'm talking hot. Every pass, he's hitting. He's running the ball well. I mean, he's just a great threat with his legs and his arms. So obviously, his 4-year starter, that speaks volumes. Like, that experience is going to pay dividends. You don't just accidentally start for 4 years, but the nature of college football, like with all the highs and lows, that he was still that guy for 4 years, except when he got injured. But that's stuff he can't control. And then on his last couple of years, I mean, Oklahoma State, they're good when they have a great running back. They've always been known for having great rushers. And I feel like as his career progressed, as it should, he was more the workhorse. And they're using all his abilities to progress the ball and running, throwing. It was all on him. And that's hard to do as a quarterback, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to get in a good system, and he's just going to be himself and not do too much, and he's going to excel.
Yeah, I
I
think
feel like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that it's a system that fits his tool set, and Kiffin knows how to make it easier on the quarterback, if you will.
Mhm.
And with the returning running back that they have, the name for kind of slips me, but I think he was the best freshman running back in the SEC, and if not the
Yeah.
whole college football. And so he'll have weapons. And so, like you said, he was asked to do a lot of Oklahoma State, and then he probably eventually started doing too much and was kind of
Mhm.
like prone with some untimely turnovers. And so I think being an offense like this with more guys to take the load off, if you will, could potentially help. But you're right, he fits the system well. So just recap that competition just kind of real quick. So I think it's good to have competition. I think regardless what happens, they're probably going to get good quarterback play this year at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, as a quarterback, you got to be ready for competition. I mean, there's not many guys in the NFL or in college that jobs are just safe and secure. So my verdict on that whole analysis is basically they didn't bring Spencer for no reason. They expect things out of him. I believe he didn't turn down Auburn for no reason. It's not like he had no options.
Yep.
He was one of the most like wanted guys in the portal. So they didn't bring him in for no reason. I don't know how happy Jackson Dart will be. I mean, I believe Sanders only has 1 year left, so he could sit and become the guy again. Talk about an awkward quarterback room. Like, that's going to be awkward. A lot of tension in there for sure. And I think they might throw Howard in there just to make him happy, keep him there. I mean, that's stuff you got to do nowadays. And I believe Spencer will be great. He'll have a great year, and the Ole Miss will elevate because of him.
I think it's definitely going to be, at least right now, and it's going to be the most kind of, at least for like me, for you, probably the most kind of kept up quarterback competition of like the bigger schools, if you will, because it looked like they had the returning starting quarterback, right? They are probably thinking he'll improve this and that. Then all of a sudden they bring in two guys, but like you said, it just kind of is what it is. And if the guy they bring in is a lot better, then it's worth it. And if the guy they bring in loses competition, well, it's a win-win because your starter fought off those two guys, and now he's able to kind of grow and take the next steps. But definitely going to be a fun one to watch that we'll be keeping our eyes on. And we'll get into more competitions as like spring ball starts getting around. But I think it was at least worth talking about now, at least mentioning this.
That'll be the most intriguing one, I feel like.
That'll be fun. Old hotty toddy. What a place, huh?
Yeah.
Sheesh. But I've actually never been, but I've been around. I've been close to it. But anyways, all right. So Ray, real quick before we get out, and before all of our thousands upon thousands viewers and subscribers ask us to come back, hopefully we get some younger quarterbacks watching the show, right? Like we talked about, we want this to be a QB hub. This is our first one. We're just kind of starting it off with the transfer portal, but probably every episode or every other episode we're going to have another college quarterback on, a former quarterback, a coach, some just to give some insight, just to kind of talk how quarterbacks talk, right? And so if you had, as we closed up, if you had one advice to give to a younger quarterback who, let's say, is not like a middle school kid, but like a guy who's a junior or senior in high school, who's getting some interest, right? What would one piece of advice be besides take care of your shoulder, and when you're in the weight room, train how a quarterback's supposed to train? That's mine.
Yeah, that's definitely his. But I got a little different side. So mine would be just focusing on, so cliche, but it's so important as a quarterback. Like I said, your job's never safe. As a high school or as a college and an NFL guy, just develop. Really, just work on what you can work on. Get as good as you can. Attack your weaknesses. I mean, everyone wants to do stuff they're good at, but the guys who really excel are the guys that work on their weaknesses. And so I believe just acknowledging it and working on it and focusing on just what you can control, and blocking out outside noise of, I mean, there's so much as a quarterback. Yeah. So just that's my main piece right there, is just working and shutting out the noise.
That's good. Blocking out the noise is huge. That's big for life too, which everyone will experience. Well, good advice, Brady. And like we said, we just want this to be a quarterback hub. Anything and all things quarterback related is fair game here. So, all right, guys, if you like this video, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you liked it, please give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. It helps the algorithm, so I hear. And like I said, we'll be doing this on a weekly basis, but we're going to be putting out other content as well, and kind of like what we used to do in the past. But if there's any quarterback kind of topic you want us to cover, just let us know. Comments below, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.